Let's move on. So the fourth question, we're going to move into vaccine mandates and medical freedom. So Thursday afternoon, the Supreme Court blocked the Biden administration's effort to force private sector companies to either test their employees weekly for COVID or to confirm that they've received the vaccine. If individual state, county, or city governments go down the path to impose their own vaccine mandates as a requirement of employment, what, if anything, can a single representative from Texas do to ensure that every American has the freedom to choose which medical procedures are right or wrong for them as individuals? We start with Lieutenant Colonel Self.
That's going to happen, folks. I think that big corporations are going to go that route. So it's a great question. We've got to be ready for it. And I think a single representative, a freshman representative that you are going to have is going to have to be a loud voice in the local press and the local clubs and the local chambers of commerce, because we also need to build a team at multiple levels of teams here locally, like we have in this room today, teams in the small businesses that need to fight this, teams in Congress with like-minded congressmen, because politics in Texas is a team sport. So we are going to have to build a team to go after it, because I believe that this will happen. Big tech, big pharma, big corporations are going to go down this route. So it's a great question. I ask you to pay attention to it and decide what you are going to do to help me fight this, because it is going to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Harp.
Thank you. We need absolutely a medical bill freedom of rights. Without that, we will not have medical freedom. Now, DeSantis has set this way, I believe, in Florida by giving the parental bill of rights to the parents, and that could be extended to a medical bill of rights. If we do not, so our founding fathers, I did a lot of research on this, and they actually thought that we needed a medical bill of rights, but they didn't want to put it there, because if they put it in writing, that means that the converse is always true. But obviously they couldn't foresee where we would be in 2022. So I'm telling you right now that I would absolutely fight for a medical freedom all the way, 100%. I do not believe I should know whether you are diabetic or whether you have cancer, and nor do I think you have the right for me to know either. I do not believe that even a private employer should have that kind of right over you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Harp. Ricky.
So where is Van Tater on this issue? Have we heard him say anything about this at all? Has he taken up for our freedoms at all? You know, our body, our choice. Remember that one right there? The federal government should not be telling anybody what to inject in their own bodies, right? Right? That's exactly right. So this is just another example of federal overreach. This is an illegitimate Biden administration shoving this stuff down our throats, taking away our individual freedoms, and we've got to fight back on this every single day. You know, we've had the CDC with this eviction moratorium. The CDC eviction moratorium, that makes no sense at all either, does it? OSHA mandating vaccines for companies with over 100 employees, that makes no sense either. This is all about the federal government and the Joe Biden administration, because anytime we move to the left, we lose our freedoms. That's why this is so important. This is probably the most important midterm election in our history. We've got to take back our country and take back our freedoms and kick Joe Biden to the curb. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. Mr. Ivanovsky.
Thank you. So let's clear the air. There's three things that are emergency use authorized. Emergency use authorized means an unapproved device, therapeutic for a bona fide emergency. The three things that are emergency use authorized are masks, PCR, and shots. Under 21 USC 360 BBB-3, informed consent, the recipient or caregiver has the right to accept or refuse. Therefore, you cannot mandate something That's under emergency use authorized. And I don't need a medical or religious exemption to save my job. I called Van Taylor's office to co-sponsor HR 2317, the We Will Not Comply Act. He quietly in November co-sponsored 2316, the Fire Fauci Act, but it went with little fanfare. I also urged him to co-sponsor 3860, which would have protected mandating the shot to the military. Now that people are being dishonorably discharged, I mean, he has to answer for that. In Texas, I'm not worried about corporations banning it or mandating it because Senate Bill 968, which was passed into law, prohibits COVID passports. And then Governor Greg Abbott's GA 40 executive order states that no entity in the state shall mandate the shots. And I will not comply. I'm never taking the shot, folks. I'm never taking the shots.
Thank you, sir. Any follow-up?
Oh, may I add something else?
Sure, 30 seconds.
So Congress doesn't need to get involved in this at all. It's already in the law, 21 USC 360 BBB-3. This comes out of the Nuremberg Code from when the Nazis were tried, US versus Brandt. That was the Nazi tribunals. Currently in the Congress, there is the Natural Immunity is Real Act filed by a representative out of Tennessee. It won't go anywhere in a Democrat-led Congress, but people are trying. I yield my time.
Thank you.